Join me as I dig deeper into the mystery of why some clients suddenly disappear. And let's see if we can figure out what's going on. And hopefully, it'll stop happening in your world. Client retention is the lifeblood of any business. It's what drives growth and what ultimately determines your bottom line. But what happens when clients suddenly stop engaging or seemingly disappear altogether? It's frustrating, extremely frustrating, when it shows up in your business. It becomes this alarming trend that can be devastating to any business of any size. You've probably experienced it yourself. You've had a client that was once engaged, enthusiastic, and then suddenly stopped responding to your emails, your phone calls. Maybe you had appointments set up and they've canceled. Maybe they didn't cancel and they just vanished. So what are some of the reasons that a client would do that? I found that the answer isn't terribly difficult. For some reason, they no longer find value in what you offer. Value that they had originally experienced with your product or service. Sometimes that can look a little different, and it's possible that the changes are really on their end and not yours. Internal priorities, maybe budgets. And in some cases, that's because they're being lured away by your competitors. I'll say this, communication breakdowns are also a big factor in client churn. Now, churn is the natural up and down that happens in your client roster. You add some, you lose some. Ideally, you gain more than you lose. If we communicate poorly, the client doesn't feel heard or understood, and they end up looking elsewhere, which means they start answering your competitors' emails. So what kind of communication issues cause a client to not feel heard? It starts early on, even back to the point of onboarding. If your business is a repeat relationship type of business and you don't have an official onboarding process, you are absolutely costing yourself money. CPAs are notoriously bad with onboarding. Not my CPA clients. You must set up the relationship from the start. Show them how they'll get the most from you. Give them chances to tell you their needs outside of the work that you're doing. How best you both can plug in to one another. What happens if you don't? Well, they become frustrated and disengaged from their very first experience. So they go from being a client, excited about the value you're bringing to them. You're going to provide them with all this new energy and focus, and you're going to help them in their lives somehow, however your business serves. And then their first real experience with you is that initial onboarding, whatever that looks like for you. And if you're really not doing a good job in the onboarding, that sets the stage for this only going downhill. So once they have it in their mind that you're not listening, you're not in tune with their needs, it's tough to come back from that unless you're intentional. And as the business owner, I've seen it happen time and time again. It happens to me. The client starts to feel like they're just an afterthought. And then suddenly, poof, they're gone. When you promise the moon and you can't deliver, clients are going to start looking away. And in some cases, simply you're just not adapting or changing to the needs of the market or their particular needs. You're just not listening. Instead of staying ahead of that curve, you're behind it. So let's look at an example. Imagine a software company that's been providing cutting-edge solutions for years. Industry really doesn't matter in this example. The company slowly stops innovating, or maybe they're just not working on the right things anymore. One day a competitor comes on board, they've got a sleek new interface, they've got some more functionality that is more in line with what the users today need. And the company just doesn't seem to adapt. Slowly, they start to lose subscriptions. A little today, a little tomorrow. And ultimately, that leads to this drip of customers leaving. Drips don't stay drips for long. They turn into streams Another example might be that a business is expanding too quickly. And when you're growing super fast, it can be very easy, to lose sight of the client's needs, and you ultimately just blow right by them. You start to neglect them, and if you're not careful, you're going to end up losing the very clients that helped you get going in the first place. One of the most surprising revelations that I've had in my own business is the importance of understanding what motivates your client. It's easy to assume that our clients are motivated by the same things that we are. Maybe for us, it's profits, it's efficiency, it's market share, reputation. It's easy to assume that our clients are motivated by the same things, but the truth is the clients are often driven by something different. It might be convenience, it might be security, or simply, do I feel heard? Well, you got to take time to understand what really drives your clients. You can tailor your approach to meet their needs and ensure they're aligned. By doing this as it evolves, ultimately, you're going to have a longer and more profitable relationship. I'll give you an example. I once had a client that was very concerned about data security. They weren't in a high data transmitting business. And at the time, I just felt like security wasn't an issue for them. And to me, their fear seemed extreme, over the top. And I was sure that they were more interested in a marketing strategy to grow sales. I missed it. When I onboarded them, I created some anxiety that didn't need to be there. And if I were more in tune with their needs, the onboarding would have gone a little different. And that would have been a client for much longer. You can create a more personal and effective relationship with your clients. You can tailor your approach to meet their needs and even anticipate concerns before they become issue. Client retention. Be intentional about your client retention. Make it a bullet point in your monthly review that you do. I don't think I've come across an industry where it is less expensive to find a new client than it is to keep an existing one. So that's to say, it's worth the effort to onboard and keep your customers longer. By understanding some of the reasons that clients may suddenly stop engaging with you or disappear, you're going to get ahead of the game. And I keep saying this word, intentional. Don't take the approach of, well, I win some, I lose some. Why? Because your competitors are. That means that their clients that become disenchanted with them are going to find themselves coming to you. It's not expensive, it's just being intentional. Do everything in your power to retain your clients, and you're going to see a major shift in your business. I promise you.